Hey, what's up, my beautiful people? It's your boy Devos from Motivational, back with another day trading recap. And so today we got a good one. Okay, we had a winning trade today. Not up much, up $40, right? But we did follow rules. We followed our patience. We followed our strategies, and that's all the juice we could get out of the lemon. Okay, and so first, I want to take y'all into some news that we had going into the day. So I want to show y'all my bias, and then I want to show you what price actually ended up doing. Okay, so let's get straight into it. Okay, and remember, I love each and every one of you guys who are with me on this journey. I appreciate all the comments, all the likes, all the views, everything. Okay, and so I really appreciate you guys. Let's get straight into it. Okay. So to start the day, what did we have to start the day? Let's refresh this real quick. So we have some really good news to start the day, right? So remember yesterday we know Trump is gonna come out with news today with the tariffs on the semiconductors and the electronics, right? And to start the day, we actually had some good news, right? It says Nvidia commits 500 billion to AI infrastructure build out in U.S., which is good news, right? Um, we had the good news with the only the 20% tariffs on the electronics, which is pretty good news, right? But just 20 minutes ago, we actually had this bad news. Americans braced for biggest unemployment rate jump since 2020. So that's actually some bad news that I think is fueling this even heavier downtrend right now. And so let's go look into the charts and see what we looked into today. So remember yesterday I told you guys I was going to be looking at the QQQ because QQQ is all of tech heavy, and we know with the good news on the electronics and everything, I was thinking we were going to get some big moves on QQQ, which we are getting big moves, but not the big moves to the upside. We're getting big moves to the downside, right? And so let's go to the daily just to see what we're doing. Okay, so you see how I had this trend line. We didn't quite, well, we didn't pump up to um, this 470 how we wanted, or this 470 area that we wanted, right? But where did we actually start off for the day, right? So to start the day, we gapped up at this 465 area, as we can see, and to start the day, we just had a huge sell-off, right? So we gapped up. So pre-markets were open. I mean, we're up to start the day. We were up, right? We gapped up to start the day. Pre-markets were looking good, and when the day started, it just straight tanked, right? And it was straight from 465 strength all the way down to 458, right? So it's what, $7 drop, and I wasn't worried about that, right? Because what I was thinking is, okay, we had this huge gapper, of course, right? We had this huge gapper, so we're gonna have to clean it up, right? Let me show you why I had this line right here. Sorry about that. Yeah, 15 minute. So as we see, we had that huge gapper, right? And so that that current fly, like the current that dump, right? I was like, okay, it's just trying to clean up this gap, and there was no pullback or anything to it. So really, there was no safe way to even get into that trend, right? To into this current down, unless you just kind of fumbled in and you know what I'm saying, you got lucky, right? That's what I'm gonna call it. If you fumbled into this, you kind of got lucky. So you got lucky because there is no type of retracement anywhere in this, or pullback. I mean, there actually was one retracement, which is this candle right here, which was a retracement. And if you would have got in right there, I mean, you would have been up some, right? That's from 462 down to 458. If you would have took your profits, you would have been up some, right? But we know we wait for our confirmations, right? We do not just hop in because we see red candles, right? So I was like, okay, we're waiting to clean up this gap. Let me come back to it. Okay, we're waiting to clean up this gap, right? Okay, we have a fair value gap right here. We have another, I wouldn't call this a fair value gap, but we have another little gap right here, right? And then we have this area of support. Why is this area of support? Because this is where it was resistance, and so resistance turns into support, right? And so I had this line right here because this was also a resistance. That's why I had this first line right here, because this was also an area of resistance, but we actually broke through. And so I was seeing it, I mean, I had that marked, so I mean, maybe we could come down and try to turn this into an area of support. We broke straight through it, so that's just off the table, right? The area of support is off the table. And so if we break through that area of supposed to be support, its resistance again, right? So we dropped down, we actually tested it, came back down, and we kind of bottomed out, right? We gave a double bottom, right? And so I'm like, okay, okay. And so what did I want? I wanted to wait. I actually wanted to see this retest and actually break structure to see if it was actually going to continue down, right? It didn't continue down. It actually double bottomed. And then what did it do? It gave a real pullback, right? It gave an actual pullback. All right, let me delete this line. It gave an actual pullback. Why? Because this is 3 candles or more that close above each other, right? We know these are 3 candles, so it gave us our pullback. So we have our pullback at this high right here, right? Before starting to break down, and it couldn't break down. So what do we have? What do we have right here? We have a high, we have a low, a lower high, a higher low, and then what? A change of character, right? So we have a higher low and then a higher high, right? So when I seen that, I'm like, okay, that's my change of character. It gave me my change of character. I just like to mark out everything so we can make sure we see it, right? So we have no confusion. We have our change of character, right? So we had our change of character. After my change of character, what do I wait? I wait for a pullback into my fair value gap or my order block, right? Where is my order block? Where is my order block? My order block is this area right here, because these are the candles before my leg up, right? And then where's the fair value gap? Well, I have a fair value gap right here, and I also have another fair value gap right here, right? So there's 3 little demand areas in this swing, right? And I'm actually going to delete them for right now, right? But as you see, there's 3 demand areas in this swing where we can get a reaction off of price, right? Let me delete this actual order block one. And so what did I wait for? I waited for a reaction. I seen this fair value gap. I was like, okay, if it pulls back and I get a heavy wick and I get an engulfing candle, I'll get in at that reaction. We didn't get that, right? It broke through, and what did we get? We got some strong wicks. We get a doji, and we got an engulfing candle. And I actually got in at this engulfing candle, right? So I got in at this engulfing candle, and what does price immediately do? And this is where I felt like price is just, I'm like, okay, man, now the market is against me, right? Because what does it do? What does it do? As soon as I get in right here at this engulfing, it breaks up a little bit more, shoots down, and then we have this other breakdown, right? So it actually broke down into this order block. And so I wasn't stopped out yet. Why? Because my stop loss has to be at our last higher low, right? It has to be at my last swing where we get the change of character. So I got in at this fair value gap with my stop loss down here, right? So we broke down. I was like, oh man, price is about to stop me out, but you stick to the strategy. You gotta wait for price to actually stop you out. You don't prematurely call your stop out, because things like this can happen. What did we do? We had this strong seller candle with pretty much no wick at the bottom, so it looked like it had strength to break it, right? But what did the buyers do? The buyers stepped in, and this is where it just created so much stress for me, because I'm like, okay, we broke up, then we break down, breaking up. I'm like, okay, now we're gaining momentum. We're finally finna break structure. Right? And after break structure, what do? This would be my take profit right here, right? Because after breaking structure, you want to take profits, right? And so I'm like, okay, we're finally gaining momentum. And what do we get? Strong sellers. You know, we're trying to build up, and you see these buyers are struggling because you're getting these strong seller candles with no wicks at the bottom, barely wicks at the bottom, but you're getting all these buyer candles with heavy wicks, heavy dojis. You see what I'm saying? So these buyers are struggling. And so where did I actually took profit right around here, and only up about 40 bucks, right? Which isn't, much at all. I only played with one contract. So I bought that contract at 280 bucks, and I ended up selling it at 320 something, right? Actually it was like 318. So 38 bucks, but you round it to 40, right? And so yeah, I took profit right here, and if I put this, so let me delete these boxes so we don't have too many technicals going on. I actually delete this line right here. And as you can see, price is currently just dumping. It's dumping, right? But I got my change of character. My stop loss is at the swing. I got in at this wick with my take profits on top of here. So that's still a 2-to-1 ratio, or 1 to 2 risk reward, or 1 to 1.4. No, it's still 1 to 2. Yeah, target 2. Yeah, still 1 to 2. Okay. And so that's pretty good. 1 to 2 is pretty good, but obviously we want to strive for the 1 to 3s, 1 to 4s, right? But I had a good entry. I had my change of character, and I took profits right around here because price was struggling too much, right? And we did end up breaking structure just a tad. Not even breaking structure. I would call this a sweeper structure. So we would have been up a little bit more, probably about $100. But it was so much struggle. I'd rather take my profits, right? And this is where it goes into everything I teach you guys and tell you guys. Whenever you get uncomfortable in price action and you're in profit, when you're getting uncomfortable and you see price is struggling more than it should, take your profits, right? There's no rules. Of course, you have your take profits at the top of the breaker structure, and that's where you want to take your profits whenever you break structure, right? But if you see prices struggling so much to get up there and it's just not giving it to you, it's just struggling, and you're getting uncomfortable, take your profits. And that's exactly what I did, right? So took my profits. I could have been up more, right? I could have been up about probably 50, 60 bucks more, but I took my profits, and so I'm only up 40 bucks. So it's like kind of like, I wish I would have gotten at, I guess, a sale, right? I wish I probably would have gotten at a sale right here, so I can get this $8 move, right? But what did I get? I got in at a good area because it's a change of character, fair value gap. I got in at 460 for a 462 strike price, and price did end up coming up to 463 where I got out. So I got a $2-3 price action. But I don't think the option, and which is all right, 2 to 3 price action is pretty good, but I don't think the option price was going that much up in value, because I really don't know why it didn't go up in value more, because it really should have. The contract price was actually cheap, and I think it was so cheap maybe because we're under so much selling pressure. Maybe because we're under so much selling pressure and so much selling momentum, that is why the actual option price was so cheap. Because remember, I bought it at 462 strike price. We were at 460, so we're not that far out of the money, right? And it was only 280 bucks. We already know right now, because of all the volatility, our option prices are around 400 or 500. And I could look right now, and on Robinhood, if I'm looking right now on the QQQ trade options for a call, in the money at 457 call is 250 bucks, which we know is cheap. Actually, even the puts are 250 bucks. So right now they're kind of cheap. But yeah, it didn't go much up in value, which is probably because we're such under selling pressure right now, and I don't know, but I feel like it should have been a little bit more than 40 bucks, but we're not gonna be mad at it, right? We're up profit. We didn't take a loss, a little base hit, and ultimately that starts the Monday off good, right? It starts the Monday off right. We followed rules. We were patient. We waited for everything. We hopped in, and it actually did do what it should have done. It swept structure. It didn't really break structure, right? And so this is where I got in right there, took my profits, and what did price end up doing? It just ended up just dumping. It dumped right back. And so that's where I'm looking at maybe my 5 minute. Because I want to see where I could have gotten a better entry, where I could have actually got in for the sale, right? So let's delete all this. So as we can see in our 5 minute, we had this high, low, lower high, right, into a fair value gap, right? This is a fair value gap in our 5 minute. So it did actually, and you could say, so whenever we mark out our fair value gap in our 5 minute, we want to scale down to our 1 minute to see what's going on, right? So if I would have came down to my 1 minute, Well, I see we did pull into a fair value gap, right? So right here would have been a good for a seller, right? But if we look at our 1 minute, it looks like a change of character. That's where I'm showing y'all where I got in at, but seeing where maybe I could have got better at. You see what I'm saying? Because look, we have our pullback. This is an actual pullback in our 5 minute. But in our 1 minute, it looks like a change of character, right? Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I still feel like it was a good entry. Cause yeah, it did give a change of character. It gave a change of character, and what did it do? It actually just changed character again. It just reversed the change of character, I guess. Pulling back, and I guess this could have been a good entry right here. This looks like a good seller entry. At this 458, and current price is down to 454. But other than that, I don't see really any good entry. And I really feel like this was a good one because we had our change of character, like I said, pull back into our fair value gap. And price did give a reaction off of that. But also, why did I trust that change of character? Well, we see this heavy volume. So when we were falling in price, we had some volume, right? We had high volume. But ultimately, when we gave the change of character, we had even higher volume, right? When we had the pullback, the volume was falling down. When we had the pullback, the volume was falling down, and actually our buyer volume did not pick back up. So that's honestly what we need to watch, right? For future trades, look at our volume on our reaction, right? Because this is what we want to see. We want to see our seller volume on our pullback. We want to see our pullback volume come down. But then on our reaction from it, whenever we get them engulfing candles, we do want to see volume pick up, right? And so that's where you stick to strategy and stick to your rules, right? I got my change of character. I got my fair value gap. But ultimately, you stick to your strategy because more times than not, it's going to work, right? I mean, obviously, we see prices just straight up dumping now, but I think it's also because of this bad news that we got, right? With this Trump's tango tariffs, so confusion as negotiators line up. That was already, but we had all this good news, and it even said Apple and Nvidia lead tech jump on tariff break. But I mean, I guess we're just getting more bad news now, right? With the unemployment rate, which we know is bad because if we have bad unemployment, that is less money in our pockets, less money in the market. And so that's my trade for today. It felt like a good one, but ultimately I can go over it, keep going over it to see where maybe I was wrong. Because then if we do look at our 5 minute, it looks like a straight low and just looks like a straight pullback, right? It just looks like a pullback, right? But even if you would have got in at this wick, that's a strong wick, right? So obviously that's heavy seller volume. There's heavy seller volume right there. So if you would have got in when this wick was falling, you still would have had price come up and stop you out, right? Because your stop loss would have to be at the top of this wick. So it's like price is literally just it's doing a lot right now. Even in our 5 minute, what did we have? We had the pullback into our fair value gap. But then what did price do? If you had your pullback to your fair value gap, on top of your pullback has to be your stop loss, right? What did it do? It actually came and it would have stopped you out. It would have came and stopped you out, right? So this is where you really don't have, it's really not too clear. This was really clear to me, this pullback, change of character. And so I wrote it with it up here. So I'm happy about that win, right? Because ultimately, like I said, more times than not, that's going to work. more time than not, when I get my change of character, my pullback to my fair value gaps, it's gonna work more times than not, right? This time we had, man, prices straight up dumping, right? And I was looking at Tesla. Tesla was dumping as well, but we do have some buyer volume. Buyer volume starts falling down, but during these huge moves, this change of character, we are getting high volume. So that's pretty much it for the trade recap. I showed you guys where I got in, why I feel like I got in. We're gonna keep going over it. Ultimately, I'm gonna keep going over it during the day, and I'm gonna see where I could have had a better entry, maybe where I went wrong, maybe, you know what I'm saying, just seeing where I could refine the strategy, keep going over it, keep getting better. And remember, I'm gonna have a video later for you guys, because I might have a second trade. I might not, because we're so far down the trend, right? So it's kind of unsafe. But I mean, we'll keep looking at it, right? We'll keep looking at these different stocks, the QQQ, our Tesla, our SPY. And during this time, when we were getting that pump and our change of character, SPY was just kind of ranging, right? You see we had this low, our high, low, lower high, but then it was kind of just ranging until now everything is dumping, right? So now everything's falling. But we were kind of just ranging in our SPY. So that's actually good that I was on my QQQ, because I actually had a clear trend and a clear reversal of trend before we reversed the reversal, right? And so we're going to keep looking over it. We might have a second trade. We might not, but we still will keep going over this to see where I could have got better, where I could have had a better trade. We're up $40 on the day, right? Starting the week good. We have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. This is gonna be a big week. I'm telling you guys, it's gonna be a winning week. Like I told you guys yesterday, right? We're gonna have a winning week, but we're not gonna force a trade, right? We see this big trend going down, but it's kind of just, I don't know if it's really a trend. It looks like it's just kind of just dumping, right? There's a difference between just straight dumping and a trend, right? I'm not really getting a trend down. It's kind of looking like just a dump down, right? And so, yeah, like I said, I follow the rules, follow strategy. More often than not, it's gonna work, okay, guys? And so, I'm gonna have a video later on going back over these trades to see where maybe I could have got better at. We will have more news by the end of the day. We're still going to be watching the market, because we know Trump is supposed to be talking about something today. So we will be prepared. We could be having this huge dump, so we can have a huge buy up. Okay, so we are going to be watching these markets, watching this news to still make sure to still be watching out for things. Okay, so trading might not be done for the day, but we will ultimately be back later for you guys. All right, I love every single one of y'all who are with me on this journey. Remember, trading is risky. Make sure to study, so you know what you're looking at. Make sure to have discipline. Don't FOMO, and make sure you have risk management, right? I had pretty big size in my Robinhood today, but it took discipline, right? I had pretty big size in my Robinhood, but it took discipline for me to only trade one contract, right? I could have bought 4 contracts if I wanted, but would that have been safe? No, not at all. Why? Because we do see, actually, let me come back out, because as we do see, QQQ, when we had our change of character, when we almost came down and broke structure, I was only down about $50, right? I was only down about $50. And I know you're saying you were down more than you actually won. Well, if price would have broke structure, I would have been up about 100. If price would have broke structure right here, I would have been down about 60, right? So I would have been up more if price would have broke structure cleanly. And it swept structure, so it would have, if I would have held in, I would have been up a little bit more, right? But ultimately, if I would have held in and seen break a structure, would I have been waiting for more and before this huge dump on me, and then I would have been just lost? You know what I'm saying? Like, I would have basically gave everything back. You know what I'm saying? So right here, I feel like it was comfortable for me to take it because it was too much struggle. So what did I do? There's no rules to take your profits. Like I said, take your profits if you see struggling. And it's not about the money, right? We do this for the money, but ultimately we got to keep trusting this process, trusting the strategy, and the results will come. The money is just the results from the skills you gain, right? So it's all going to come, right? So you just got to stick with the process, stick with your strategy, stick with your disciplines, okay? And so back to it, if I would have had 4 contracts, that minus $50 would have been minus $200. You know what I'm saying? I'm down here. So I would have been, my emotions would have been even higher than they were. You know what I'm saying? Because shoot, my emotions were pretty high with the one contract. So if I seen me down $200, my emotions would have been even higher. You get what I'm saying? So it was good that I did follow disciplines, follow the risk management, um, take it light because we know with everything that's happened, the volatility is crazy right now, right? So just take it light and just trust the strategy, right? And so that's what I did. I took it light. I only bought one contract, only up $40, remember, but that's only one contract, right? And we know usually the value in the contracts will go up more than that, okay? So this is just the beginning, just the start. I love every single one of you guys. Remember, there will be a video coming out later, okay? So I will say it again. Make sure to study so you know what you're looking at. Make sure to trust your disciplines, trust your strategy. Don't FOMO. Have risk management, all right? I love every single one of y'all with me. And remember, guys, stay persistent, passionate. Make sure y'all get paid, all right? Peace.